that money is allocated.
The honourable member for Caribou Prince George.
Prime Minister and his front bench have misled Canadians about what they knew and when they knew it. We know the Trudeau Foundation took money from the Communist Party of China. We know Beijing communist operatives were directly funding Liberal nomination and elections. The facts are indisputable, yet they continue to try and sweep the scandal under the rug to cover up their own interests. When will they stop misleading Canadians and call for a public inquiry?
Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, it couldn't be further from the truth, but let me reiterate that we trust our public servants. We trust the national security community. And you know what the national security community said? That it was Canadians and Canadians alone who determine the outcome of our elections. So, Madam Speaker, while the Conservatives have already identified that they see this as a partisan issue, we don't. We are working incredibly hard to support our national security community to ensure that our institutions are robust and that it's only Canadians who determine the outcome of our elections.
The honourable member for Caribou Prince George.
Madam Speaker, the national security community told them and briefed the Katie Telford and the Prime Minister weeks before the election about foreign interference. 48 hours before the nomination deadline, CSIS urged them to rescind the nomination of a Liberal candidate. Foreign operatives funded their candidates and the Prime Minister did nothing. The Prime Minister and his bench continue the cover-up. In law, you can't stand in judgment of yourself, yet that's exactly what this Prime Minister wants to do to cover up his own scandal. When will the public or the Prime Minister call for a public inquiry?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
I'm glad the member opposite talked about this issue again, because I find it a bit rich. The Conservatives seem to be talking out of both sides of their mouth now. The Leader of the Opposition can allow his MPs to cozy up to far-right members of foreign governments. They support the convoy, which we know involved foreign funding, and then they grandstand about the impacts of foreign interference without actually condemning it amongst their own benches. Madam Speaker, if members care about Canadian democracy, they should call it out in their own benches.
The honourable member for Kelowna Lake Country.
Well, Madam Speaker, with many leaked reports on ways Beijing has interfered in our democracy, our politics, and our government, the Prime Minister first denied, then deflected, then he decided to turn towards a committee that is completely behind closed doors, with secret meetings, secret witnesses, secret testimony, and secret conclusions, a committee with no openness or transparency. Why are the Liberals hiding the truth from Canadians?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I am extremely upset about the way that the National NCCOP is portrayed by the opposition. It was created by an act of Parliament. It was debated at committee. It was passed in this House. It has members from all parties that are part of it. They are privy to top-secret information, which keeps our country safe. That's why they are not allowed to divulge it. But to portray it as a secret committee is wrong. It's misleading Canadians. It was created by Parliament, and I'm very proud of the work that it does.
For Kelowna Lake Country.
Well, Madam Speaker, this committee is not independent. It reports to the Prime Minister. There are serious interference allegations. There's the $200,000 donation from Beijing influences to the Trudeau Foundation, and what the Globe and Mail called an orchestrated machine of Beijing's influence to elect Liberals and defeat Conservatives. Nothing is covered that won't eventually be revealed. So will the Prime Minister do the honourable thing and call for a public inquiry?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
Madam Speaker, the committee is independent. In fact, 2 members of the official opposition sit on that committee, as well as members of the Senate and other opposition parties. And while the report is given to the Prime Minister, I would remind honourable members that it is also tabled with the National Public Safety Committee annually. We review it, and in fact, the legislation says that if the Prime Minister asks for any changes to that report, it has to be reported to Parliament. Thank you, Madam Speaker.